Before the video starts, I just want to let you guys know that over 90% of you watching this video aren't even subscribed to the channel. So if this is something you like, basketball related content, then be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an upload. And also please be sure to turn on your notifications so you don't miss an upload. And also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like. That makes a big difference in helping this channel grow. With that being said, back to the video. What's going on, guys? So today I wanted to talk about James Harden, and this is something that, has been a very interesting conversation, especially with the MVP race this season, because if you look, there is no clear MVP right now. Anyone who says that there is lying to themselves. There is no clear MVP right now. It is a very difficult race because there are a lot of players this season that are making very, very strong cases this season. So it's very hard to figure out who you actually have to win the MVP. No one can predict that right now, and there's a lot of guys you can have a case for. I wanted to talk about James Harden because what he's been doing so far ever since he came to Brooklyn, and especially recently, has made me think about the fact that maybe there should be a case for James Harden to be the MVP this season. Now, let me first get this out of the way just so that I establish my opinion on this. I don't think he's going to win the MVP this season. I think because of the trade and how he handled it, which I criticized. I think that the way he handled that and the way he went about that situation was not what left people with a bad taste in their mouth. So I don't see how that is going to be. I feel like that's going to be something that they use against Harden to make his MVP case. But if you're talking about what he's done on the court, especially since he came to Brooklyn, it has been tremendous. He has been amazing for this team. He's probably been the most valuable player on this team, especially as of late with the injuries and stuff. And that's part of what I want to talk about, because last night was where it really stood out to me, where I'm like, yeah, James Harden is the most valuable player on this team simply for what he does right now, especially with Kyrie and KD being, in and out right now. But against the Spurs yesterday, that was, first of all, it was an interesting game. It was a very good game, and Harden had a terrific, they won in overtime, but it was a terrific game for Harden. He had 30 points, 14 rebounds, 15 assists, shot 42% from 3, shot over 50% from the field. That was a terrific game from Harden, and he did that with Kyrie Irving this game. No Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's been out for a while, but I mean, he has been doing this every day. He became the primary ball handler on this team. Kyrie Irving, he said that, okay, Harden's the point guard now, Kyrie's the shooting guard now, and you can tell that even after that role switch, that Harden has really taken advantage of that, and he's really made it his, and he's done a really good job so far. And watching just how this Nets team has done so far this season, it makes me think how dominant they can be once they're all fully healthy, which is the most important thing, because this Brooklyn Nets team right now is very good. If you just had Harden alone, if you had Harden and Kyrie, again, there's a very, very good team. They can go to, the conference finals. With all of them together, they can win the championship, obviously. But just what he does on the court, even without, the star power behind him, he has just and we've seen this again and again. He did it in Houston all these years, and even when what he's been doing in Brooklyn has just been terrific. And I think this game, the game against Phoenix earlier, when they were down 20 something, and then he with no Kyrie and no KD led the comeback. He had 38 points that game. He had 11 assists, 7 rebounds. So that was another great game from him. And he's done this consistently, and the Nets are winning too. So there is a case to make for James Harden to be the MVP this season. And it's weird because the case that he has right now is the case that I thought LeBron would have when AD went down with the injury. I thought that, with LeBron, with AD being hurt, obviously, it sucks that he's hurt and you want him to come back soon, but with him being hurt and the Lakers looking on paper better than last year, you would think that, okay, this is going to be LeBron's time to overtake. He can be himself. He's been playing the most minutes, which is unreal to think about. He hasn't missed a single game. So I thought that he would just take over the game. He would do everything he does at a higher level because it's just him and there's no AD, so he has to carry the load more. And we would have to see him do extra, and that would make a case for him to be the MVP this season. But obviously, and this is a different topic, but the Lakers are struggling right now, right? Like they went on a pretty bad losing streak. They're in close games when they shouldn't be. They're lackadaisical. LeBron looks physically tired, understandably. So the case that I thought LeBron would have, I'm seeing it with James Harden, because James Harden is basically alone right now. Kyrie's in and out of the games. Kevin Durant has missed, I think, over a week of basketball, and he's not coming back until after the All-Star weekend. So James Harden basically been on his own for Brooklyn, at least for, the past week or two. So ever since he came, and he's been terrific. Like, he's been putting up his best number, not his best numbers. He's had incredible numbers regardless. He's had these great numbers. He's taking over in the fourth quarter. He looks confident. He looks like he's having fun, which is a big thing and part of why the move to Brooklyn was so huge for him. Obviously, you can tell he was not happy when he was in Houston. And as soon as he went to the Nets, you could tell there was a positive energy that he brought and that he had when he plays. If you watch the Nets, you can watch when he plays, and even when other guys are playing too, you can tell they're just having fun with each other. And that's so big. Like, that chemistry that they have, they're joking around on the court, Kyrie Irving like doing fake half dunks, and they're making fun of him. Like, that little stuff is just making such a big difference, because you can tell that they're having so much fun together. And James Harden is doing that too. He's having that, he has that positive energy. He's spreading that with the team. It's making everyone around him better. So yeah, there's a case to be made for James Harden to be the MVP this season. I hope that he at least gets All-NBA first team. And if this continues, especially with the uncertainty with KD and Kyrie being injured or just not being playing, you don't know what's going to happen with them. So I credit James Harden, because he could, with the stars out, he could take the load too. Because at the end of the day, he's a superstar too. So he doesn't have to do all this stuff that he's doing right now. But he wanted to be here, so he's putting on a show like he said he would. And that's exactly what he's doing. So I can't get mad at that. I'm very happy to see it. He's obviously a very fun player to watch when he's doing his thing. His step back three is just super, super deadly. Everyone's talking about how bad their defense is with Brooklyn, even with Harden, which I get, because at one point they were the worst team in defensive efficiency in this season, I think, of all time, which was pretty sad. But as of the past, I think, month or two, they've actually started to pick it up defensively. They went from 30th to 14th, 15th, which is still, not great, but especially if you're a championship team, but it's still not bad at all. And obviously the offensive power that they have is going to overshadow anything that they can do on the defensive end. So even if they don't even have to be a top 10 defense. That's just how this Nets team is assembled. They don't have to be a top 10 defense. They can just do everything they can on offense, and that alone is going to help them win games. And we saw that, especially in this last stretch where they won, 8 straight games? And each of them, pretty convincingly. They won by 10 against Indiana, 17 against Golden State, 11 against Sacramento, 11 against the Clippers. So 37 against Orlando. They're doing this again and again, and they're winning handily, which obviously you expect from them. But, even with the overtime win against the Spurs aren't a bad team. The Spurs are a playoff team right now. They're top 5 in the West. So, the Nets had a challenge, and the game went to overtime. So, and the Nets, even with that, they still were able to handily win in overtime. So, the Nets have a very good team. James Harden has been terrific this season, and it's so weird watching how the narrative has changed around him slightly. I don't think it's going to be enough for him to win the MVP, because at the end of the day, the narrative kind of wins the MVP. It's usually about who's the best player on the best team, but that's just how it works this time, these days. But I mean, from the hate that he had in Houston, especially in the beginning of the season, where he was, he was irresponsible. He was going to parties and just blowing off practices and training camp, and not really talking and communicating with Houston. He was very physically angry with not being want to be there. And then the trade happens, and then all of a sudden he's playing well, his attitude changes, he's playing well, the team's doing well, so then the attitude around him changes into a more positive light. So if this continues, will it actually make him more of an MVP contender? I mean, I would argue yeah, but we'll see what happens. I think that Harden is making a very, very strong case to be the MVP right now. He's probably third on my list, because right now I'd probably have Embiid, then LeBron, then Harden. But I mean, we'll see. Jokic has been terrific too, but that's a different topic for another video. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about Harden because it's just been so interesting to see, you know, the video I made like 2 months ago when I was like, James Harden's being dangerous, the stuff he's doing is ridiculous, to now where I'm like, okay, he's on the team that he wanted to be in, and when he's there, he's playing well. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy, please be sure to leave a like. Comment down below what you think about this whole James Harden situation. Do you think that he can actually win the MVP this season, or do you think it's going to be short because of the Houston situation? Let me know what you think. And if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. And yeah, thank you guys for the continued support, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.